Whoops. First sip is hot. What's going on, everybody? Coffee and guitar stuff. Today I want to talk about guitar design. Also, thanks to everybody who watched that video yesterday. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. It was I don't want to say it was hard to make, but it wasn't normal to talk about that kind of stuff on the internet. So I appreciate it very much. And thanks to everybody who's watching these videos and subscribing and having fun and understanding the intention of these videos. It's obviously not to attack people in comment sections, but here's what will happen. It's interesting when you see things said and you're like, that is the wildest take I've ever seen. I don't get triggered by them so much or angry. It's never that. It's I like to understand how this psychology works because I run a business, right? And sometimes it's humorous. I think it's funny to call out the weird ones. So that's what I do. I think it's hilarious. There are often days where we have funny comments and people that are genuinely off their rocker. And we're laughing about it, here at the house. So, but one of those kind of concepts that we do as a community, I don't even want to talk about comment sections in this case, but as we do it in a community is, of course, we pick a guitar design and we base that guitar design off our choice, which is what we should do. But I think a lot of times we forget that someone designed that guitar with intention, right? Most instruments that are actually designed, not copied. I mean, Chinese knockoff copy. We could talk about the Silver Sky. Actually, I watched a really good video with John Mayer about that last night. Super interesting. And that is a design, whether it is similar to the Stratocaster or not, it is an evolution in design. Okay. So say what you want about it, but it is a design. Now, the Silver Sky is a good example, and there are other guitars that are great examples of, PRS in general, of a guitar that is intentionally designed. Everything about it was done for a reason, and people don't like them for various superficial design reasons, which is totally fine. That's totally cool. But we should think, in my opinion, at least don't forget about the designer, that he had an idea, that he had a reason for doing something, right? We might say, I don't know why they put the switch there or the pot there. I don't like the neck shape that they used. I don't like why do all their guitars come with this radius? Why do all their guitars come with such and such? I don't understand why PRS, Fender, Gibson, Texas Toast, Schecter does it this way all the time, right? I'll give you an example just to shout out my buddies again. They use at Texas Toast, they use a 10-inch fretboard radius. Well, we'll get into why in a minute. It's very intentional. Very intentional. Dude, I know he'll get up in a few minutes. Zeba doesn't like it when he gets up before Bandit gets up, and then he has to wait on him. So maybe they did it because they wanted to. Maybe because they thought it was cool. Guitar designers think it was cool too, right? And that drove them to do a thing. It's not a mistake. It's not because they forgot to ask Reddit or their comment section about a design. They wanted to do something. They thought something was cool, and so they did it. Of course. And as a result of that, every design of every guitar excludes somebody, right? Even the more mainstream ones. A chunky neck excludes somebody. A skinny neck excludes somebody. Heavy guitars exclude somebody. Light guitars exclude somebody. Jumbo frets, 7 1/4 radius, 12-inch radius, 16-inch radius. You cannot design a guitar that does all the things for everybody. Once you choose a thing when you're designing something, you're saying something that you don't want. Like you're deciding to not use something. You're saying no to this thing because you're choosing this thing. And on the design side, there's always a compromise with that. So sometimes you just lean back on what you want. There are pickups that we don't make here at DylanTalksTone. I don't like them. So what that means is I'm not going to like making them. It also means that because I find them very frustrating, maybe, for example, and B, no matter how popular they are, I can't personally get behind the design because it's against the philosophy of what I do here, and what I feel is important to how we present our business. All those things. So I just don't make certain products because I just don't like them, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the design, or it might have something to do with, well, anyway, let's just get into it. Like, if you AI design something or you committee design something, what do you come out with? A knife-shaped knife, a guitar-shaped guitar, a car-shaped car, and a person with 5 fingers. Like, you end up with, or a hand in the wrong place. You end up with this thing that's just a thing, right? So, Leo Fender liked certain stuff. Paul Reed Smith likes certain things, like the Birds, for example. A lot of people don't like the Birds, but there's a reason. I think it's because his mom likes Birds. I think I remember hearing that. If I'm wrong about that, correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he said that in a video somewhere. Matt and Chris at Texas Toast, they like certain things and don't like certain things. You'll never get a relic from them, right? For example, Matt really likes, I disagree with this choice, but when he pulls it off on a whole look on a guitar, it makes total sense to me. I hate cream pickup rings, but on his guitars, they look amazing because he loves cream pickup rings. And he figured out a way to make it all work. And it looks awesome, right? Like, even to me, I don't even really like them. So when the builder does the choice, it makes a lot of sense. Because we just don't want to mush. We don't. And the reason why original designs feel weird, and this might be something where, for example, let's take, for example, my Texas Toast Challenger. I've got a Texas Toast icon that is like a double cut sort of, or a no cut Les Paul basically, but it's a hollow body. And you look at it and you're like, that's sort of, I've never seen anything like that. Or a weird headstock, or, different control placements, or anything like that. Everybody complains about it because we want innovation, but we really only want 5% change from what we already know, which is a Strata, Les Paul, or a Tele. And as a result of this, instead of the designer thinking in an additive and creative way, so for example, when somebody designs a guitar from scratch, they're looking at this whole thing, right? But the problem is that the internet kind of designs by subtraction, the opposite direction, right? So, imagine designing a guitar from the comment section, okay? Make it lighter, make it heavier, more vintage, less vintage, cheaper, obviously, made in the USA. It's got to be cheaper and made in the USA. It's got to have locking tuners. It's got to have stainless frets, but no locking tuners because I don't like locking tuners. After 10,000 comments, you've really designed nothing. And what you have done is subtracted every option, and you don't end up with a guitar in the end. The Guitar Center experiment is going to be very interesting, and to see how they handle that, because that's what kind of would happen, right? So that's why, to me, it's like, okay, it's really hard as a maker of things. Okay, so for example, I make pickups, right? And here's the other personal feelings of the builder that you need to think about. He's sick of Strats, dude. I've talked to Matt about this all the time. He's like, man, we probably should just make nothing but Teles and Strats, but I don't want to. I want to make my own stuff. I want to make my own guitars. Like, that's why I do this, because I have this idea and I want to make my own guitars. I'm just tired of it. And I'm in the pickup business, and I'm exactly the same way. I'm like, a black bridge telly pickup, like a normal looking bridge telly pickup, and a nickel cover on a telly pickup is sort of just. I mean, we've made 20,000 pickups. Like you just kind of like, okay, and we do it all right here. So it's not something. It's not that I've ordered 10,000 of them and they came in and I didn't have to see them. I mean, every one of them, I wrote my name on every one of them. Like, so I've seen them all. They've all been in my hands, all 20,000 of them. And you're just like, another whatever. And so that's why we've come up with um, this whole idea of all these acrylics and all the laser etching and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, the stuff's not very popular as a rule because people just want plain stuff. But this gives me an ability to feel creative, like, oh, look at this cool new material, let me experiment with that cool new color, and how does that gonna, what guitars will that work on, and it's starting to gain some steam because people are starting to realize, A, that we do it, and B, that, oh, this is actually kind of neat and it makes you a little bit unique. Um, there's a hidden cost to being an individual. Different tooling costs more. These pickups cost a little more because it's a lot of labor, actually. To make a clear P90, there's more assembly before the pickup is wound than after. It's a lot of work, for example. That's why they cost 10 or 15 bucks more or whatever, because they're really hard to make. So individuality costs money. You have different parts. We have to actually, the 3D printer, we print some parts that go in there. We make a whole bunch of stuff. At the same time, I got to make sure that it fits in your guitar. Otherwise, that doesn't work. So one of the things also that kind of comes along with this is, and the reason I'm kind of bringing this all up is when we think about the negativity that's kind of around in the community sometimes, one way to combat that is to make a positive contribution. And it's hard sometimes because you're like, I hate that thing. I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't like anything about a Silver Sky. I don't like anything about a Les Paul. So one of the things I try to do, and I do this with fountain pens, with guns, with knives, especially with knives, because a knife is an artistic, functional tool. I'll pick a knife up and I'll be like, man, that is ugly. But then what I'll do is, A, I don't have to buy it, so it doesn't affect me, right? So just don't buy the thing that you don't like. You don't have to love it, right? It's not for you. Not every product is for every person, right? So there's no point in you bagging on somebody else for buying something, right? But what you can do is understand why it exists, because and who does like it, right? And I don't mean like, yeah, only morons like this. I mean like, who does like it? There's been many times where I'm like, this is the ugliest guitar I've ever seen, and one of my friends loves the thing, and he's like, okay, for example, I don't think they're ugly, but I do think they're ugly. For example, the Acoustasonic, like that guitar gets a lot of hate, but that is a very intentionally designed, very interesting design that is very functional. I got a buddy who plays live all the time, and he has one, and he loves it, and he like understands how to put it into a show. He does a lot of tapping and looping and stuff, and he understands how to like fully immerse this thing into a show. And he's a solo guy, and he's got a bunch of looping stuff and does a bunch of neat things. And now I go, it kind of makes me want one, even though when they first came out, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing ever. And I'm going, I appreciate the use case, instead of just thinking it's stupid. So it's just something that we could do. Every other guitar player teaches us something. Every other design teaches us something. We don't want to design guitars in the comments. We want to let them do it.